it going. And that's why some of the prices seem higher, but those prices are the actual prices of growing that without externalities, you know. So I think that, you know, in partnering with North Shore LIJ, we're trying to get a lot more access and teach about education, about eating right and what to feed and how to shop, you know. Even at the supermarket, you have to be savvy, you know.
Of all of the farmers markets that are on Long Island, how many would you say have a program that you have?
Well, the four that I have, and then.
So how many are there?
There are quite a few.
And
There are
then-
quite a few, and everybody, so the Long Island Growers Association is the largest network, but essentially it's one farmer with an orchard person and then a lot of other mixed products.
So one farmer's market in every town?
She does not, you know, she does not participate with the program, you know. So I'm gonna say if there are 25 markets, there are 12 or 10 maybe that are, you know, running EBT and food stamp programs.
Did you know if the Sustainable Long Island youth-run farmers
Yeah,
markets,
all-
they accept
all do,
EBT,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
they all
because
do.
they have a lot of markets that they have popped up in a lot of different more food desert type areas, or just for example, they've had a very successful one that they've had in New Cassell for many years now, where a lot of people in New Cassell can't get access to fresh food, so they're able to accept a lot more of the EBT credits and stuff through that farmers market, and I know they have other ones
Yeah, I think
besides
they
that.
run
But
like
that's a good
7.
example
They
of
have-
one
They
that's
have either 5 or 7 markets.
Thank you.
yeah.
Question to Jen, since you're into education, and I guess you all are, I saw a film whose name I can't recall right now, but in the school system, this teacher took a melon. They had never tasted a melon. And having the kids taste the melon as opposed to something else, the kids, 70% of them liked the melon. I mean, 30%, you know, liked the junk food. That kind of thing, to be introduced, the actual product, not just to say here, assembly line, because they won't go for it. But if you have in the school system the experience and have teachers do this in the early ages, the kids will come home, because they usually do, very right? Ma, why didn't you buy a cantaloupe, you know, something like that. I think that that hands-on thing has to be done more in the school systems.
So I can just share something that I know goes on at the Child Care Council of Nassau and at the Child Care Council of Suffolk, is that they have the Farm to Preschool program, which I believe is funded through the Department of Health. And basically at different child cares across the 2 counties, it's 4 or 5, I don't know the exact number, they actually have exactly this. At the site of the preschool or child care, they will set up a farmer's market on a certain day, and they do specific education with the 3- and 4-year-olds about what foods are available at the farmer's market. Most of these child cares are serving low-income families, and are using, you know, voucher programs, so they actually have the EBT. So they're trying to really integrate it into the community, and it's been a large success. I know I've seen they have the Belmont Raceways has a child care right there, and they have a farmer's market there every Friday, which is right outside the child care, and the families and the kids get education there.
Right, in Child Care Suffolk, we don't have that same program as
Okay,
NASA,
sorry.
but our food program does do trainings for the providers to teach them healthier choices for the children and things that are, you know, age appropriate and, you know, for their fingers, as well as health, you know, good health choices.
Yeah, and the early childhood home visiting programs do the same thing. So they're talking about nutrition, they're talking about taking your kid to the grocery store and talking to them about how, you know, stuff gets from farm to table and what healthy choices are.
I can attest that I've also seen it work very well at the Gravesend, Brooklyn, New York City edible schoolyards, which I wish they would bring more of those type of things to here on Long Island, because they are a great program, and they have these showcase gardens they put onto the school properties with apple trees and pear trees and everything you can think of to grow, and a great compost program. They teach the kids how to cook food. But what I can tell you is that before I even got to see their garden, I had to walk through their school. And these kids in the cafeteria got the message. There's 3 kids who are guarding the trash cans there. And they said, we have a compost bin, we have a recycling bin, and we have a trash bin. And this kid's about to go and throw everything in the trash. and these two little kids went up to them and said, no, this gets composted, this gets recycled, and there's no waste in this. And so this school actually has a lot less waste, and they're composting so much more. So if we can implement more of these programs, kids really do get the message.
One other thing you reminded me of, I can't see your name.
Scott.
Whatever. Anyway, the thing is, there was a film that I saw, it was a camp, and what they did was, they noticed that in the beginning of the film, that a lot of kids wasted food and ended up in the garbage cans. So they had a contest to see how the waste would go down, kind of. I mean, they did compost. And then children started taking only what they would eat, and very little was taken off the plate. In other words, not to have big piles. The smaller pile won, you know, what was left over from whatever they ate.
Jen, I just want to check back with you. I know we kind of, got a
sorry.
little astray there, so do you want to,
I think I'm good. I mean, I would just encourage everybody to kind of think outside the box and to think younger. I think all the, the gardens and the different, the EBT programs and all that is absolutely fantastic, and we have to do it all at the same time. But if you're educating and taking care of kids from the prenatal period to the, through age 8, in those very earliest years, we're not going to have to do the remediation that we do later. Our low-income population will go down. And so I think it's just kind of changing that societal mind shift there, that we really need to focus some of our money on little kids, and you will impact their families and their lifetimes.
for sure. So I think a lot about like healthy communities. So I'm lucky, I live down in the city of Long Beach, and we have beautiful access to a lot of open space, in the form of our ocean and our bay system. And we are the most we ride more bikes in Long Beach than anywhere else on Long Island, So I just maybe talk a little bit about, having more access with, making things more available for people to ride their bikes. Or, I find like if somebody calls me and they want me to come look at their town for a market, I'm like, well, what's your downtown like? And what, are there a lot of people walking, or, is there a lot of, or is it just, sort of the drive-by? So how can we kind of encourage more of that, where you can access, and I guess, that's got a lot to do with being able to also live and work in your town, like, I had to, I work, a lot in Long Beach, I live in Long Beach, and I feel very lucky. One day I had to commute out to Elmont, and I was like, oh my God, I can't even take the road rage in the morning on the road. So, how can we kind of shift ourselves, where people are kind of living and working, in a community that supports that, sort of healthy living, has the amenities, like I live here, we have an ice arena, we have pools, and, so what part does, I guess, our municipalities or, maybe even private sector investment play in helping our communities to be thriving a little bit more?
Mayor? Food and Water Watch has been there with many rallies against the LNG pipeline, etc. I was wondering why, since they're into healthy food and water, since you do have shows and other things, I've seen that. It's a wonderful open farmers market. Maybe sometime you might link up with them and have them as a guest speaker when they're...
Yeah, they come and they petition about,
No, but I mean actually get up and speak and explain to whoever wants to stand and listen what they're about. It's not just a petition, it's to understand why they're there for that day, It impacts on our environment. Just a thought.
Yeah, so...
Well, that's such an interesting question. It's a heavy lift to make people want to change their habits. I mean, here on Long Island, we live in our houses, we drive to the grocery store, we drive to work, we drive our kids to school. We don't really, we're not a city. We don't walk that much. It's just the reality. I mean, there are some places, Long Beach, Rockville Center, there's some more places springing up where there is more of that. You can be healthy. There are skating rinks everywhere, bike trails. They're not really used that much. Tennis courts. I mean, we're so lucky where we live.
Yeah, we have
There's free tennis courts. There's never hardly anyone on them, which is great because I love to play tennis, so I can always get a court. But you can't really control people and make them want to change. And then, of course, it comes to the elected officials to implement change, but they're not going to implement change unless the people want them to. Because anytime you try to do something different, you're gonna get a lot of angry people showing up, which is not necessarily a reason not to do it, but it might cow some people to just, I'm not gonna touch that right now, just let that go by. And I think maybe we need to become a little more courageous in our choices, and I also find that, at least in my district, my community is ready for this kind of change, which is why, I'm very excited about our Complete Streets project. I think, there could be a shift, but there's only so much you can push people. And I'm also thinking about your question about organic food. I think you can, maybe I'm wrong, I'm no scientist, I'm not a food expert, but I think you can eat healthy without having to eat organic. Get a nice chicken and some roast vegetables. There is.
Organic food is so great. Everyone's
And I
so
think a lot of it
true.
is hype. I mean, my dad, who is a real cynic, he calls organic food a tax on the gullible, which I thought was pretty funny. I think you can eat healthy if you make a modest income. Just go to your local grocery store and buy the healthy stuff, buy the vegetables.
The biggest component is about cooking, about preparing the food
Right,
yourself.
making your own
Because
food.
I saw Michael Pollan speak, and he said you could be a poor person, you could be a rich person. And if you're eating all your meals out, the rich person is gonna have worse health than a poor person who prepares all of their meals because by necessity.
But the reality is, in a lot of poor families, you have parents or single-family homes, people working 2-3 jobs, taking care of the kids. So it's a lot
Well,
easier
exactly.
to go through the drive-through at McDonald's
Absolutely.
than worry about, okay, I need to get a chicken and a vegetable and this, and then I'm gonna
Timing.
prepare it.
It's true.
So those are
that
some
goes back to the
realities.
education about
Right.
cooking and staying away from when you shop the perimeter. And just get the basics.
Crock pot.
That's what I was just thinking, crock pot.
Crock pot.
Throw it all in the morning and you're done.
Yeah, I prepare my food the day before for the next day.
Yeah. So I just have one more question. I don't know if you've been involved at all with that blue trail, on the waterways. Are you
I haven't
familiar
been,
with that?
no.
So there's a great new thing happening. I live on the South Shore. I'm an avid kayaker, and so now they're creating like maps for local people so that they can, if they're going to be boating or doing whatever, not gasoline.
Do you know if Bolton Harbor is part of that? Because I think we're gonna be doing
I
a
think
kayak lunch.
I think you
from
guys
the
are
park.
part of it. So there are these new blue, I think it's called the Blue Way map. And it's a real great way to get more familiar. Because even driving here today, I came up through the Jones Beach and the Loop Parkway there. It's absolutely fabulous out there.
Yeah.
And I get out there and I'm like, I can't believe nobody's here.
I know. Why aren't we taking advantage of the fact that we're on this amazing island?
It's a
Yeah.
Friday and they're working. It's a Friday and they're working.
And it's freezing cold.
Because it's 18 degrees.
That might have something to do with it
That's
today.
about a week and a half
True,
ago, I was out. But yeah, so I think we have a lot of, Long Island, I think it's got a lot of resources, and I think.
We do. It's, maybe we're getting a little more ready as
Yeah.
time goes on.
Just an FYI, even for just nutritional facts and things like that, the Heart Association's website is a wealth of information, www.heart.org. It's a tremendous amount of information to send out to people and read up on and stuff like that, so take a look at that website.
Good.
Thank you all for coming.
I have a, so, very interested in starting business. Trying to find different experience in different, land areas.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Danielle.
Yeah.
Danielle, nice to meet you, Laura Curran.
There is life.
I run the
There
parent.
is, you know there is, you know there is.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
More.
You know, I've done,
Teach
I
parents, it
feel
don't have to be
that
parents, just be children and family focused.
Why can't we do this?
I said,
Really?
so Stony Brook is.
Yes, indeed.
Get the information.
No.
there are so many great places here.
Stay
We're
west.
calling it a
Oh, Mike.
We're calling it a
Like arena? Oh, yeah. It's a big empire.
Are you going
It's quite the empire.
So I do.
Where do you live?
No, we
Jill,
don't.
Jill,
Westbury,
All these spaces.
it seemed like, if, you know, I showed him
Say, Mike, you
Yeah.
really,
I'm talking about the, one of the council members of the report.
Yeah.
Yes, I've
Very
heard
interested.
But like in
And
some
I
counties,
was
we
just
go by
interested in
county.
ideas.
something that's legal.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out how would I
Give me
go
your
about
card.
for like
I'm
trying
ready.
to.
Nice.
That's why I'm thinking.
Leaving the railroad myself.
Hicksville's a good place to do it, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
So like, I
She's gonna be talking to her.
So, yeah, we're going to
Whoopsie daisy.
Absolutely, invite me, I'll come.
So I would get like New York State African markets are made for
What's just the land management center, they give me
Yeah, I'd love to learn more about you. You can invite me, I'll get
And again, I know
So
they're not
there's a New
I
York
love
State-
how government works. I mean, one thing that I really want to get going on is
When, the editing fund?
nuts.
Yeah,
People aren't
she
voting.
left
They're
and she came
absolutely
back.
crazy.
It was between the community.
They're the ones who are gonna benefit.
Yes.
Watch.
Yeah,
Right.
my director.
because she was,
You should come back full
My
time.
director.
You should come back full time.
So,
Exactly.
I just feel like
good ideas.
I have, it's just more that I'm more
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
Talk about some,
Please do. Okay. Nice to see you.
So she ended up with the last
Nobody's ever heard of it.
So it's a program that parents are like
Okay, I was
Gearing up.
her SGS, his place, he had the national, international small farmer baseball tournament. And so obviously I was lucky to go over there.
Yeah.
But, he's doing Yale first. I'm interested, I know their number why. I think you guys will look
Definitely. Make it more accessible. Right, right.
Big back.
I don't know, and how
We
would
should
they? How
definitely
would
be
you
in
know?
there. South Nassau, I think, has some kind of, not fully familiar with everything yet.
Exactly, right.
Pretty sure they
And
have
just,
some.
there's so many
Well, that's
municipalities.
the thing where, you know, I know this
Fire,
position
like,
version is like a sort of.
yeah, so
I
it's
see.
amazing.
Providers.
Yeah, but that more, I'm like, you know,
Yeah, I have
second one.
actually-
You know, it's
I had affiliated here. but-
People want to know, who do I call?
That's what I mean.
You know that. Give me the useful information.
So I can drive people to
Not for nothing, we can sell a few ads too, I don't know if they want to do that.
They don't want to do it, so
They don't
that's
want to do that.
That's why I
Wow,
said, I've talked to them.
She's very satisfied.
But,
From their TF retreat, and then they
How big is the church?
Here are the numbers, here are the locations.
Towns have different funding structures, some of the townships actually.
Great that you give children.
Yeah, it's gonna make such a difference.
Yes.
So we're hoping to get pilot, so we're
Yeah.
satisfied with 10, but we're hoping for 20 to start.
No, it's gotta be there.
You know, what'd be
Especially on
interesting
Long
for you to
Island.
come
Everybody
and while you're doing this,
in their
speak to the
community.
legislature about what you're doing.
But
so,
I
I
think we
mean,
can arrange that, just like a 3-minute PowerPoint presentation,
Hyper
something
local.
like that.
ties, family ties.
Judy Jacobs.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, Judy was a good place to start.
Well, no, I mean,
And we had
I
a
have personal ties for
better
British parents. I have a first cousin who lives in
All
Long
right,
Beach.
good. Excellent. I'll be in touch with you, yeah.
In Suffolk, some of the towns fund, like the High North
Yes,
Foundation and
so I
Media
have-
fund.
Yeah.
And then in Nassau, there's a combination of things. The Child Care Council of Nassau is the
So
host
that's
agency.
something that
So they did some
we need to try to
fundraising,
emphasize
and
more.
then they
And I like the idea
also,
of
from their
converting, as it
Office
were,
of Family and
Vegas
Children
into,
Services contract.
Yeah,
with someone
yeah,
to
having
do
the
it.
healthy options.
But again, we just started, so we're
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
A little haggador, a little bit of what they raise themselves in.
So yeah, if you're interested, you know,
Right.
I
just
am
give us a call.
Very good.
I would love to come to the
Good.
Yeah.
Start.
I think it would be interesting, they'd be interested to hear from you.
Yeah, and it's totally nonpartisan.
Good.
It's
Yeah.
non-threatening.
Alright.
It's
Yeah.
about
I was nervous. I just found out about this last
empowering
week.
the feel
We
good.
say-
And this is, they wanna know.
Yeah, hey, how are you?
Starting here, they wanna be.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so definitely let's connect.
Okay, very good. Danielle or Daniela?
Daniel.
Thank
you.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You said you had an affiliation with North Shore.
Do you still have a second or two?
Sure.
I'm interested in your take on this.
Especially,
I'm
And
trying
I
to start.
live in Long Beach, so
I
you're
was just
a
gonna
little
say that
Long
everybody
Beach,
keeps talking
Long
about
Beach
it,
is,
so I'm trying to start my own
Yeah.
aquaponics based farming business,
Oh.
and I want to
Yeah,
pop
so
it up in
you
as many areas as I
may
can
well,
because we don't have fresh
you know, it
access
might
to
be
food
good for
here
you
in
to have
Nassau
space at the
County.
market.
Suffolk
Well,
County
yeah,
has their
yeah, that's what I
farms.
was thinking.
I love the farms. The problem is that I have to drive over an
So
hour to
that-
go
yeah,
and get
because
that
we're a little
produce. Is
frustrated
it
with what's
really
happening.
worth it? No,
The
because
hospital, we want to
No,
buy
I know.
the gas you're wasting. So
Right,
what
I know.
so what I'm interested in doing is
Yeah.
we also
It was
you
interesting
know
when Chuck Schumer
we have
was
fresh
talking
fish
today
around us,
about
but
that hospital that got wiped out in
the
that town in
regulations
upstate
that
New
have been,
York.
I'm a
The
fisherman,
river,
and the
and they-
regulations
well, they
that we
moved
have
to
seen
Sandy.
are
I'm like,
worse
well,
and
what-
worse, and our fish
why can't
stocks
you
are
do it
worse
for
and
us,
worse.
you know?
So I'm very interested in starting an
But,
aquaponics
I
business
mean-
because
Well,
here
the
you can
sense-
get fresh
yeah,
fish.
just-
I'm not feeding them GMOs.
sense that
I'm
they
not feeding them
alcohol.
commercial feed. I will make my own feed. It's something where I feel
Wait, what is that?
Yeah.
Let me look it up.
so, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm so ignorant when it comes to this because I always think people know and
Yeah.
half the people don't know what this
Yeah.
is. So aquaponics is fish-based farming. So what you have is,
In existing bodies of water, like.
well, no,
Wait,
in
wait,
a
wait,
in a
wait,
tank.
wait, okay.
And so what it is you get a runway. So say it's you have a hoop house. I don't know if you know a hoop house, but hoop house is like a
Yeah, I live.
hoop house is
I
like a
live
metal structure like
there
this.
between
So you
Lincoln and
have
Franklin on
just
State
bars
Street. I'm
set
between
up,
Lincoln and Franklin
say
Park,
24 by
you know.
26.
They're
You
behind
cover it
you,
with
you
2
know.
layers of film.
But I know
So you can do year-round farming. This is the big deal.
Yeah.
So you put compost on the sides, you put compost piles inside, and you have a heated hoop house. You don't need a
Composting
greenhouse.
warms it up.
Right, you don't need a
Yeah.
greenhouse, you put it inside of a building, it's cheap.
So,
And so what I'm interested in
so
doing
yeah,
is
that's our
using
winter
these
market
hoop
we're
houses
doing,
to start and building
you know, I
local
think
food
that-
hubs. And so
programs that we're running.
I was wondering if, you know, like, is there any grants for small business startups that are available
So
that,
they'll definitely.
and then-
Let me look into that.
I'll tell you, we're great.
I can give you,
Like,
my, I don't have a card, but I have my
Yeah,
resumes
so our
with
last
me, so
Wednesday
you
will
can just
be
take
the
my
day before
contact info
Thanksgiving.
from the
Yeah.
top.
But I mean,
Okay.
economically, the market's.
And,
They only
I'm
give you one
grad,
T out of spot.
Really?
That? Yeah. It's like, oh, that's not spelling.
yeah, that's not spelling. I didn't even realize,
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm
yeah, I
graduating in
started
December and I'm
college.
really, you know, I wanna, I'm in Jericho,
I see that
so,
you
Jericho,
yeah,
okay.
so I'm in the town of Oyster Bay.
Because,
So, in the town of Oyster Bay, I met with the soil and water lady the other day and she said that there might be a place for me there. I've been talking with everybody. Hofstra's interested, Stony Brook's interested.
Yeah, that's what I
So-
was gonna suggest.
Yeah, no, she told me she was
You need
totally
grants.
interested. So I'm just interested, if I can get grants.
So
And
the
this is a
cell
business.
phone
You're
number
starting
will
it
be
as a
the
business.
same for
Right,
you?
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I need to be able to live, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm very
I know,
interested in
but get involved
operating
with the
as many of these
railroad
as
with,
I can, because people run away, as I was saying, to
We were
Brooklyn
involved
to
in,
do this. If you look at Brooklyn, it's a bunch of people who all went, yes, I want to be urban
I
farmers,
know.
and they go on top of the roofs,
And they do their
and they're
pickles
doing
and their-
hydroponics or aquaponics, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and then they do all these, or they just do the roof and they
So
put
yeah, I
down
was
soil.
involved with
Right.
that project.
That's great for Brooklyn, that's great for that area, but why are you leaving areas like this to go there to do this?
I know.
So the big thing is,
Yes,
let's
I
have
know.
local
So, yeah,
food
work,
security.
Yeah.
So
there's a
I
lot
want
of work
to
to get
have a
done.
way that people can get
Yeah,
food
to launch
fresh
it.
and
Yes,
at a
yes,
price
yes.
that is fair for them to buy it, because
All right, good.
we have people who are
Yeah,
fleeing
that'd be
out of here,
great.
they can't afford anything.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to work
So,
closer to home.
you know, I'm
so
interested
the
in doing a
ocean side
for-profit
is
and not-for-profit
great.
kind of thing with this. I mean, at first, I think I would have to do the for-profit, so I at least
Yeah,
had
you
some
gotta
sort of money in my pocket. But I would like a non-for-profit wing, where I could go into areas and really, you know, this is not about making money, this is about educating communities and keeping them involved and taking people from communities that need work and putting them to work. When I'm on Hofstra campus or another campus, you put the students to work. And this is what it is, you know? It's really about doing something and making a change. Sure, yeah, Will Allen did that great in Milwaukee, 200 acres he's now farming on. That's ridiculous.
Wow.
And he's now in Chicago, and he's in Detroit, and he's popping up. But, you
How do you
know,
spell Alan?
Allen.
We brought him here. We brought him. with
He was
a
at
lot of
Hofstra
small-
twice?
Yeah, the small
He's going to be at Hofstra as well in December for our mid-year commencement when I'm graduating.
Amazing person.
Yeah, he's cool. But this can work. It definitely can. And oops,
Yeah, I love that.
I got one on the other side. So what I'm interested in is if I can find enough grants. Like I've been finding grants, but I don't know if they all. I have to really sift through them and see if they all really apply. I'm like at the end of my business plan, so it's almost completely done.
Yeah.
It's just that I have all this work from school, and I work myself for a sustainable coconut water company.
Oh,
so
do
like
you?
I've
What's
always
it called?
Harmless Harvest.
Huh.
It's an organic and raw coconut water company. Coconut water. And now they came up with some new infusions, and they also have tea now all of a sudden that they started. So yeah, so
Tea's huge.
I've always been a foodie. I'm very
Yeah,
interested
me too.
in
I
food.
love food.
And for me, I don't understand why we can't get local food.
No, you're
And so-
absolutely right. I could not agree with you more.
So this
Could
is
not agree with you more. The question
Yeah.
is, what are the grants?
right.
That's
So
Well,
she
I
told
think
me that there
Ag
was some
Markets is a
startup,
startup.
the art,
You talked to.
yeah, the New York State agricultural grants. She said was a
Hello.
startup.
How are you?
So,
Yeah, I said that.
Hi,
You might be
I'm
a
Scott.
constituent. Oh,
Where
Jericho? You
I'm in
Jericho?
Jericho.
Oh, no.
We're close.
I think North Shore on.
I was just talking to something else from you.
All right, I'll be in touch.
like Judy.
Brinkman?
It could be.
Bob Brinkman? Robert Brinkman?
Just
Well,
give me a
This was very interesting. I
Yeah,
didn't know you were
Brinkman.
so
It's gotta be him.
deep
Yeah.
into it.
That's the director of my program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a great guy.
Nice guy.
Once I get fired up,
Yeah,
So what,
so
when are you
interesting.
doing?
a lot.
So I think I'm gonna do a.
I'm studying